Hi, I'm Adriana, and my group and I did the continent of Australia. I am going to give you a little bit of background of who these ancient Aboriginal Australians were and where they came from. First, the Aboriginal Australians are ancient people who were direct descendants of the first German explorers. They entered Southeast Australia 42,000 years ago on a land called Mungo. Before entering Australia, they migrated from Africa, heading south 70,000 years ago on their own. They would find a piece of land and harvest everything that it had, and then they would go to another land and use up all their resources. They called this island hopping. When they finally entered Mungo land in southeastern Australia, they were able to adapt to their lifestyle. The land then was rich in vegetation, water, animals, and food. They were able to eat crawfish, fish, and other types of sea life. Since then, a lot has happened to their land. Their land is now a dry desert.
Hi, I'm Sarah and I'm part of the Australian group. Today I'm going to be talking about well-known rituals in prehistoric Australia. The first one is ochre. Ochre was very important to the Australians. It is a natural earth clay. It's the oldest natural pigment. There are three colors. There's yellow, white, and red. Red was the main color that Australians used. Reason being, it is symbolic. It was a symbol of life. Pretty much the color of blood was the symbol of life to them. The ochre would stain the bones, so the ochre was used in burials. They would decorate the bodies. They would paint the gravesite and they would paint the bones, so when the body decayed, the bones stayed because the ochre, which is the natural clay, stayed on the bones due to it doesn't wash away or it doesn't decay. Also, there was a shelter built or handmade by the Australians. It was shaped like the wind. So the way the wind was, it was very curved. The structure was built 6,000 years before Lake Mungo. It was pretty much a shelter for them, for the Australians. So during this time that they were in this shelter, they would do carvings with the ochre and also sand and ash. They carved animals that they hunted, such as crocodile and fish. Also, paintings had early Australian animals that aren't even seen today. So there must have been animals that eventually died out, but still to this day that those drawings are still in those walls. The walls are covered in layers and layers of animals. So pretty cool. The ochre helped create the art, which was just, again, symbolic to the Australians. Also, today, scientists are able to get a lot of information based on the bones that they find. I know the women back in the day, their bones were broken, like their skulls were fractured, and then so pretty much they broke the woman's bones and they burned them. Pretty much that's just the ritual. Also too, for scientists today, they do samples of hair to find out DNA to understand who these people were.
The start of video says that 60,000 Ice Age and 55,000 years ago, humans began exploring Australia. 40,000 years before they reached North America. Showed their drawings of animals that were hunted, crawdad fish, modern and very old, 6,000 before Mungo, pountrine of Minas Point, hunt, cook, Jenny, honest, eat it. Australia split from Antarctica, verdant end, no competing fish, man life.
Hello guys, my name is Renee Mendez. I just want to talk to you a little bit about prehistoric Australia and what I've learned about the combination of STEM work and culture. A lot of the times I question myself about where I came from culturally and even what type of DNA I have. As I did some studying, I was excited to learn that I'm 17% Australian. The reason why I was excited to learn that is because I was watching the video on Australia, and it mentioned that Australians have the most ancient DNA in the world. I was disappointed when I learned that a little bit after the Ice Age, 60% of the population died off, and this was mostly because of the scarcity of food and isolation. The reason why they became isolated was because they broke off into smaller groups in search of that food. Now, isolation, I thought that isolation was the main reason why they died off, mostly because the men of that time were hunters and warriors, but most importantly, they were teachers to their young. Now, when you don't have a teacher to show you how to survive, or show you the skills you need to create a way of living, then you eventually die off. See, STEM, my opinion is that STEM has a way of helping people critically think about how to create and innovate what could be brought forth in order to make life easier. On the other hand, culture would have created circumstances in which we need STEM work, but the young didn't have those teachers, and didn't have an opportunity to even learn that, because they didn't have a village around them. They only had their small groups, in which eventually died off. So that's my bit on STEM work and culture. I hope you all have learned a little bit from me in this 2-minute video, 2-minute and 30-second video that I've created. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Australia is known as an immigration land today, but 500 years ago it belongs to the Mango people. Mango people is full with secrets, and right now people is working really hard to find how they did it, because Mango people was so isolated from other people that right now they don't know how to explain how they live and became a powerful nation. And one of the secrets that they said is because they went apart in little groups, and when they needed help to each other, they did help to each other. They were separated, but at the same time they were together. So that's what they say right now. The success was the isolation. Another thing is Mango people was established next to the lake named Mango, and that lake was one of their first good resource of food, and another one was hunting. This the Mango legacy still live now, and it can be proved with their spiritual rituals that people practice nowadays.